فلذلك فادع واستقم كما أمرت ولا تتبع أهواءهم وقل آمنت بما أنزل الله من كتاب. Alhamdulillah wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So today I want to answer a question that came up from a couple people, and it was something that when I became Muslim, my grandpa, he is a Christian minister and a professor in a Christian college and whatnot, and so he brought up this particular issue, and I saw it brought up on one in the comments as well on my first video. So I wanted to answer wanted to make a video to answer this thing. So basically the question was, did you know as a Muslim that you're never actually assured paradise? As a Muslim, you're never assured paradise. He said this, and so I was like, first off, there's one thing. One, nobody knows the future, and I'll say this from this way, and also and this is something that no Muslim knows if he's gonna die, and he's gonna be in the state of if he's gonna be a Muslim when he dies. But we know for sure that every single Muslim enters Jannah. And what's the evidence for this? From the evidences for this is what Allah says in the Quran. ثُمَّ أَوْرَثْنَا الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ اصْطَفَيْنَا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. And this is that we gave the book, which is could be the Quran, we've gave this as an inheritance to our slaves who we have chose. And a lot of the Mufassirin, they say this is the followers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَمِنْهُمْ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ وَمِنْهُمْ مُقْتَصِدٌ وَمِنْهُمْ سَابِقٌ بِالْخَيْرَاتِ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْكَبِيرُ. And then from those those that Allah has chosen, there are those who have oppressed themselves, who have wronged themselves. And then there are those who follow a middle course. They're good, but they're not like the best. And then there are some who are, by Allah's permission, they are of the foremost in their good deeds. And this is of the greatest of the gifts of Allah, and this is from His bounty and mercy. And then Allah says regarding these, جَنَّاتُ عَدْنٍ يَدْخُلُونَهَا يُحَلَّوْنَ فِيهَا مِنْ أَسَاوِرَ مِنْ ذَهَبٍ وَلُؤْلُؤًا. That Allah says Jannah Aden, which is this everlasting paradise. And they will enter this everlasting paradise. All of those people, from the ones who they were oppressive to themselves, from that were chosen by Allah, from these people that were oppressive to themselves, as well as the people who are in the middle, as well as the people who are the best of people. All of these, Jannatu Adni yadkhulunaha. All these people will enter into the paradise. Yuhallawna fiha min asawir min dhahab. They will be adorned with bracelets of gold and pearls. Walibasuhum fiha harir. And that their garments will be of silk. Of course, Allah knows how great that is. And so this is something that Allah has here. He talks about that the good, the bad, and the medium. All of these people, like the best of people, the normal Muslim, and even the ones who are very, very terrible, they will all enter into paradise. And also in so many other places, and such as in the Hadith, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that no one testifies on La ilaha illallah except that, like from his heart, like action with belief and seeking Allah's pleasure, except that he will be entered into paradise, regardless of what he has done. And so this is something that the person who comes with this tawheed, then Allah will enter him into paradise. Now the second thing that they talked about, like the Christians they mentioned, was, did you know that your good deeds have to outweigh your bad deeds for you to go to heaven? And first off, the going to heaven, this is already a done deal. If somebody dies as a Muslim, of course we hope that we all die as Muslims. If they die as a Muslim, they're going to heaven. But the question is, do they go to heaven right away, and do they have like the highest status of heaven? Or do they have to pay time in the hellfire because they were oppressive to people, or oppressive and they didn't do what was required of them? Maybe they didn't pray, maybe they didn't fast as they were supposed to, they left off a bunch of the deeds that they're called to do. And do these people actually do these people enter paradise? And of course, as long as they are Muslim and they testified that there's no one worthy of worship but Allah, as long as they're Muslim, they go to heaven. And of course, if this person testified and they were hypocritical in that they didn't actually mean it, this person is a hypocrite, and hypocrites stay in the hellfire, in the worst places of the hellfire. But for the person who is a Muslim, if they die as a Muslim, they're absolutely guaranteed paradise. But if they're of the sinful people, as I mentioned, these are someone that can be subject to the hellfire. And there will be people that actually, from the Muslims, that will go into the hellfire because their bad deeds outweighed their good deeds, and they will be entered into the hellfire. And then once they pay off the penalty of their sins, then they'll be entered into Jannah, and Allah will put them into, Allah will dip them into the Nahr al-Hayat, and this is like that Allah will dip them into the river of life, if you want to translate it this way. And this is mentioned in a hadith from Sahih Muslim, that Allah will dip them into this river, and they will, after they've been burned except for the place of their sujood, then this person will grow back up like a plant, and he will be brought into paradise after that. And of course, I'll put a link to the hadiths, or mention the hadiths at the bottom of this video, inshallah. And there's very, very many evidences that prove that every single Muslim, if they died as a Muslim, then they will be entered into paradise. And the amount of hadiths and evidence that come for this is just immense. And also, just another note, the bad deeds outweighing the good deeds, or the good deeds outweighing the bad deeds. How could the good deeds ever outweigh the bad deeds? This is the question that the Christians can come up with. First off, there's many evidences that show that the good deeds are actually multiplied over the bad deeds. So this comes in a hadith that the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that when every single deed that a person does, and if he intends to do a good deed, then Allah will write it down as one. And if he follows through with it and he does this good deed, then Allah will write it down as 10 times, or he'll write it down as 10, or up to 700 times. And so this is something that is beautiful from the mercy and the bounty of Allah, that He does this for His worshippers. And then if somebody intends to do a bad deed and then they don't do it, they get one good deed written down for them. And if somebody follows through and they do the bad deed, it's only written down as one. And so this is something that is from the benefit of Allah. And so whoever's good deeds don't outweigh their bad deeds, this person is a wretched person. And so this is of course the person who can't actually do good deeds that are multiplied, that can outweigh the bad deeds. This person is not even trying. This person was they're totally they're a complete loser. Of course everybody can try to do good deeds, and everyone can pray their salawat, they can always make their wudu, and all of these are good deeds that are being written down for them, that and every single good deed erases a bad deed. And so this is something, and your good deeds are multiplied by 10, and then you have bad deeds. This is something that of course we have just a huge benefit when it comes to the scale. Ultimately, as I mentioned first, all Muslims, they go to the Jannah. They all go to Jannah, and regardless of whatever they've done, Allah will enter them into Jannah, even if it's after a punishment. And so this is something that is absolutely set in stone, and that we can all be assured of as Muslims. We're all going, if we die as Muslims, then we're going to paradise. If we don't die as Muslim, then we didn't fall into the category that goes into that. And so this is the only way that someone could say, oh, you guys don't know for sure if you're going to heaven or not. And this is something that keeps us humble, because we don't know if we're going to die as a Muslim. And we all ask Allah that He would take us to meet Him as a Muslim that doesn't make any partners alongside of Allah. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
فلذلك فادع واستقم كما أمرت ولا تتبع أهواءهم وقل آمنت بما أنزل الله من كتاب وأمرت لأعدل بينكم الله ربنا وربكم لنا بيننا وبينكم الله يجمع بيننا وإليه المصير.